All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the Archetype Podcast. Um, it's been a couple weeks. It's been, I think, 2 or 3 weeks since I filmed the last one. And it's just because I've been feeling weird about it, of like just overthinking of what God wants me to do and trying to follow that. Um, yeah, it's just like this. It's like this back and forth of like, sorry, it's like this back and forth of, am I supposed to be putting out stuff on the internet? Am I not? Da 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 da. Whatever it might be, but um, the consensus I keep coming back to is just like Christianity is not like I think sometimes it's overcomplicated, and to go back to the basis of what the Great Commission is and just like making disciples, going out speaking about Jesus. Sometimes I forget that like that's literally our job, to go out and like speak about Jesus. So yeah, but welcome back. Thank you guys for coming back and watching. If you haven't seen the past episodes, definitely go check that out. Have some good episodes on there on this channel. Today I think I kind of just want to do a recap of my last couple of weeks and just like talk. I think I was breaching a line of a little bit too preachy. I'm talking about Proverbs, and I'm still learning how to talk about that type of stuff. And so I just was like, I feel a little bit more comfortable just sharing about myself instead of trying to share what I've been learning, which kind of blurs lines there. But anyway, so yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do with this episode. Um, oh, I also did want to clarify too. I am sorry as well, because I learned that part of what I was learning in Proverbs about like you're honoring your mother and your father and this different stuff, or like talking about it was talking about keeping your mother and father's wisdom and stuff like that, and part of it was talking about Abraham, um and not like your biological mother and father. So I got that messed up. So sorry about that. It was the part where I was like, but what if like your parents aren't like following what God says and all this stuff, and is so I want to reiterate too that like, do not watch this, take what I say and just go babble what I'm saying. Like, I am fully aware that like I am still learning the Bible all the time, of like just trying to understand what it's trying to say. And so like, with me still trying to figure that out, like please like just listen to what I have to say. I hope it inspires you to go read the Bible for yourself, but please don't go out and just like copying what I'm saying, because I am wrong part of the time, if not like half the time, you know? But yeah, with that being said, um the last couple of weeks have been really awesome. I got to go speak to one of the pastors at my church shortly after the last episode I put out, and to be honest, I mean, I really wanted to. I've been looking for more guests and stuff like that, and so like just to go have a conversation, and man, like what I got from it is not what I thought I was gonna get from it, and what I got from it was like a perspective of like, yo, not that there's levels, but of the fact that like of seeing where I am. It's like sometimes I forget about the fact that I just moved to Birmingham literally like 4 months ago, and that I just joined this church, all this different stuff, and I'm like, because my personality is just steamroll, is just to like keep going till there's no end, and I gotta like it was just a reality check of being like, whoa, okay, yeah, like I've got a little bit farther to go before being able to do certain things. Um, and it comes with time, and I gotta trust God's timing. In the past, I mean, I've not that I'm like known for, but for myself, I know myself that in the past, I've definitely tried rushing things and rushing God, and it doesn't work for me, obviously, because I'm not powerful enough to steer off whatever God's trying to, or what He is doing. Um, And so yeah, so just learning that it was a great conversation, and I got to share about myself and everything, and it was very encouraging. It was a encouraging conversation of perspective, not like a negative perspective. It was like very positive, being like, oh, okay, I see where I am, I see where he is. That gap that's in between is not a gap of lacking, but it's just a gap of time and of understanding, if that makes sense. And so I'm just sticking to um, what I'm doing, and I've just been working on music. My music has been so inspiring to me, like making music in this. Oh, sorry, to point out, I'm in the studio, in my studio. I'm in our apartment. I'm not in the living room anymore. I just thought I'd mix, like, just switch it up, try different styles of scenery, I guess, or backgrounds and stuff like that. So I figure I might as well just try it out in here. But yeah, in the studio, making music has been so awesome, because I've just, it feels like there's a different purpose behind it, instead of just me wanting to make good music. It's like, if this isn't glorifying God, if this doesn't inspire you to sing about our Heavenly Father, then it's useless. There's nothing to it. And so the new purpose behind it is just so inspiring, and carries me up to just want to keep creating. Like, I'll be in here, I'll be so positive about it. Like, yesterday, I spent an hour in here just like fiddling around, making a simple beat. It wasn't good. At least to me, it wasn't good, but it was fun. It was like, I'm putting the reps in, I'm practicing this. It's like I'm practicing my craft that can glorify God. And within that, just carries me to want to keep going no matter what I'm creating in here, because I know it's not me, it's Him, if that makes sense. Like, it's Him that lives in me, and it's my job to work on my craft to glorify Him in the skills that I've been gifted with. And whether that be one day where I don't make a song that I think I can release, or if it's a day that I do make a song that I'm like, at some point when we release this or put this on an album, it's the same thing for me, because it's just this place of like love and comfortability, and it's so awesome. So that's been great. Um, I also started a new job. I started a job, I think either a little bit before the last episode or after, and it's been great. I mean, God always moves in just ways that I don't expect or understand necessarily, and so it takes a little bit of hindsight to see what's going on, and so I think I'm seeing that a little bit. But yeah, it's been really awesome. And this is actually a little bit of a crazy story, but so I was at the store just doing my thing, whatever. A guy walks in, um, and from my perspective, he seemed a bit far away from God, um, not Christian, like very far away from a Christian value or belief system, and that like set off my discernment like so bad. Not bad, but just like really strong. Like, my discernment was like physical of me like feeling this, and so I got freaked out. And so in my head, I'm like thinking all these things and freaking myself out and all this stuff. Like, did the devil just walk in? Is there a demon in here right now? And so it took a lot of reflection and also seeking mentorship on that, of like what just happened today, because I'm from Indiana, and central Indiana, everybody is just very medium, not as medium as like mediocre, but just medium as like just medium level headed, of just like just very and so you don't meet people. I don't, in my experience of being in Indiana, you don't meet anybody that's super, I'm gonna go talk to Jesus to I'm gonna go talk to people about Jesus on the streets. That doesn't happen in central Indiana in the suburbs. But what also doesn't happen is people speaking in ways that's very like blasphemy, or speaking very opposite of a Christian value. And so seeing that first person was like, just, it's like It's almost like when you go somewhere, you get culture shocked and you're like, whoa, what is this? But with this, it's so spiritual and not of like worldly culture. It's so spiritual that it like just set me off. And I was like, whoa. But I think, and I've learned, I think next time I definitely like, and again, I'm still working through this, always working through things. And so this isn't like a super deep conclusion and like, this is what you should do next time. Like, this isn't that. But for me, I think what happened was that my discernment was correct and that it was somebody not of Christianity, not a follower of Jesus, obviously, from my experience with him. But it also doesn't have to be the furthest extreme of everything. It just, my discernment turned into fear, leading me to think things that were probably not true, and which is totally unfair of me to do. I totally understand that, like super unfair of me to do to another human being to think that way. But it's what happened, and I made a mistake, and that's cool. Like, I'm gonna learn from it and everything, but like, it was a mistake at the end of the day. And what's crazy is that after that, he came back into the store and I got a second chance to talk with him because he was like returning or exchanging some of the stuff that he had got. And I was stressed out again because I was like, at this point, I still would like, I think I had talked to people about it already, but was still like in shock. Yeah, I hadn't fully like came to my like hindsight vision of it. I was still very in it, being like, what, I don't know what happened the other day. Came back in though, and this time I feel like I did a little bit better. I prayed for him this time, which is what I should have done in my opinion last time. Is that if anything, I should have prayed for him, because no matter what, God is stronger and is bigger than any issue. The gates of hell have nothing on heaven, no matter what might have possessed that man, if he was, or anything like that, which I'm not even educated enough on knowing how that all works necessarily. It no matter what it is, I should have not been fearful. I should have just trusted God and the fact that I'm safe no matter what it is. Treat him like a normal human being, like a son of God, because that is a human, and pray for him. If I feel discernment, I need to pray for that person, not get freaked out and just start judging and, on my tactical, just like spy mode basically. So yeah, so that was definitely a learning moment for me the other week. Definitely a moment of growth. I'm very thankful for it, but it was definitely humbling. It was definitely humbling especially going to people talking about it and just being like, yeah. But yeah, so it was a good moment to grow from. And so yeah, so it's cool. I think God definitely used that to grow me, and I think it was definitely a God moment, him coming back and me being able to pray for him. I don't think that was coincidence. Everything else though in my life, man, I've been lacking in the gym so bad. Like, I'm breaking the point of where I'm like, how like weight ages people. I'm like, if I start gaining weight, I'm just gonna look even older than I already do now, and people already mistake me for like 3 years older than I am. I'm like, this is bad. So I need to start getting back in the gym soon. Because it is something that's important to me. I've been neglecting it because I just haven't had enough time. But yeah, whatever. Halloween weekend though, this past Halloween was very fun. Went out a couple times with my girlfriend and her friends, and so that was cool. And we had a fun time. Exhausting though. That was probably my first weekend that I had done like a consecutive going out and like actually going out, not just like somebody's house, but like going out to the city. And so that was interesting. Definitely more tiring and just more like having to go to work on Saturday, waking up just being like, that groggy feeling that was not cool. Um, but yeah, it was fun. One more big thing that happened, that isn't necessarily like situational big, but just spiritually big, that I want to share is the other day, or this last Sunday, I was in church and at Highlands, we're wrapping up a series called The Goodness of God. And it's like going through all these things. It's like God is good. Going through all these things about the different things of Jesus, like Jesus remains, Jesus weeps, Jesus, I forget the other ones, but it's like a whole bunch of different, just like Jesus blank. And it was beautiful to go through over the past, I think it was 9 weeks that we did this series, because it lets you digest it slowly. So like through the week, going in my journal, writing my notes down, they give us a little field book, and I've just been slowly digesting all of this, and it's been really interesting because every Sunday I'll go to church and I get something from it. And it's not usually the actual message. Like I retain the message and it's very helpful, but what's the biggest part to me is like what'll just like what the Holy Spirit will say to me. And like one of the days it was like, which I have not done yet, and I need to, but I'm gonna be transparent about it. I haven't done it yet. But he said, make a card for prayer in the morning and put it on your nightstand so you can read, so I can read it right when I wake up. It just popped into my head while at church, and I was like, that is such a good idea. So I write it down in my journal. So like, and in the field notes that they give us. And so I now have like these consecutive pages in my notebook of all these different Sundays, with like it, and I have like my extra notes, so I can go back and see what idea the Holy Spirit was speaking to me that Sunday or whatever it might be. And so it's been really cool. And I say all that to say that it wrapped up this past Sunday, and during the wrap up, the wrap up was Jesus remains. And it was like in the pastor was Dino, his name's Dino, was on stage giving the message, giving the sermon. And he brought up a campus pastor. I think his name's Blake, but he was putting like these massive stickers of just like Jesus this, Jesus that, Jesus weeps, da 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 da, Jesus celebrates, all these things. And he's talking through it, and then finally he puts on Jesus remains. And for some reason, at the end of that message, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I came to this realization through God's strength. Like I don't like, his goodness just came over me. Like Holy Spirit just came over me, and it was just like this unfathomable, like it's just so unfathomable to me, God's goodness throughout my entire life, of since I can remember being in preschool wanting to like talk about Jesus. I couldn't even remember why. I don't remember the emotions I was feeling. I don't remember what I heard at Sunday school that made me want to say whatever it might be. But I remember being in preschool, washing my hands, being like, you believe in Jesus? I do. Wanting to spread his name. Like God was with me then. His Spirit was with me then in preschool up until I can remember, and being able to look back and being like, God always had me. And by the way, this is all nonverbal while I'm sitting there. The message had ended at this point. The campus pastor came on stage because we watched the actual sermon on a screen. We're not at the main campus. And the campus pastor comes on stage, he's talking, and I can't help but just bawl my eyes out. So I'm sitting there like this to myself, like hands are shaking, just bawling my eyes out because I can't fathom the fact that, like, it's overwhelming how good God is, of the fact that he was with me my entire life. I can look back at so many different points knowing that he was there. The fruits, his Spirit being inside of me, like the different characteristics that I've had throughout my life of my redeeming moments or my bad moments, learning from things or whatever it might be. And like knowing that he was with me, and just seeing the credit that he has for all those different things. And then in my brain, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, and not in a way of like, I'm not, like, I say this as a way of, without God, I would not be here. To an atheist perspective, if you saw, I said this word for word to Celeste after we got into the car. I was like, If you took a snapshot of who my dad was, if you look at the brokenness that's in my family, I'm not supposed to be here. If you talk to an atheist and we are just a culmination of our environment and different things, I'm not supposed to be here. My story does not make sense on paper. If it wasn't for God's grace and his characteristics and prayer and all these different things, I would not be here today because it doesn't make sense. His character and his spirit living inside of me, growing me, transforming my heart is the only reason I act the way I do and the only reason why I'm here. If I was an actual culmination of just how things are in this world, I would be completely different, and it's only because of God's grace and undeniable truth that he is alive that I'm here today, speaking the way I do, acting the way I do, living the way I do. Outside of obedience of what he wants me to do, I still am different. I could stop being as obedient as I am today. Let's say I'm 50% obedient tomorrow. It doesn't change because he's alive. He's living inside of me. It's unexplainable. And so I'm going through this process of just like, I'm weeping, like actually like there have not been many times in my life where I'm actually weeping about something. So this is also, I know this means a lot. I'm actually sitting there uncontrollably weeping from the overwhelming realization of this overwhelming joy of who God is. And I remember saying this in the car to Sis because I was crying again in the car because I couldn't. If I tried explaining it to her after we were after it was done, we were walking out, and I was like, I'm gonna have to explain this in the car because I'm gonna start crying again if I do. If I don't, and I explain it here, I'm gonna start crying. So in the car, at the end of like again me crying and explaining this to her, I'm like, and it's insane how the only thing that we're asked of is that we go and we spread the goodness that we get to receive. Like how blessed am I? How blessed am I that I get to receive God's goodness and that I get to live the life that I do. There's people out there that don't have him to lean on. They don't out of ignorance don't know his love or comfortability that he has or his growth that he can provide and his spirit living inside of you, this backbone to life. Some people don't even have this. A lot of people don't have this, but I do. And the only thing I'm asked for having this is to go and spread his name, to go and share the goodness that I have been given. That is a fight worth fighting for. That is a mission that is worth fighting for, that is worth tooth and nail, that is worth getting whatever worldly punishment there might be for it. It is worth all of it. Because there is nothing in this world that makes more sense than that. It is so much nonsense that it's the only thing that makes sense in this world full of lies. And I'm explaining it a little bit different now because, again, I've had time to think about it. But, like, that's just really what I was thinking about in the car and at church. And just, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And so that was like, and I'm trying to pull this back into a normal conversation now. But that's what happened this past Sunday. And it's beautiful. And, you know, I pray that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do by sharing this on camera and sharing this to all you guys. Because I don't say this, and it scares me because I do. It's in my blood. Pride is in my blood, and so I have to reiterate this, that I don't say this to build myself up over others. I say this because it is so inspiring to me. It's so life-changing to me that I need people to know out there that Christianity is not just a religion. It's not something you show up to on Sundays. It's not just something that you go to small group and talk about. It is not just something that you go and have prayer before dinner. It's not just something that you use to bless your food over. These are all super important things, but the biggest thing about it, like, it's so much deeper than that. If you give it a chance, if you let God reveal himself to you in whatever way that is for you, it is so much deeper than just the practices, than just the religion part. It is being a disciple and being able to disciple others and others discipling you. A real actual connection, a unity that is created from knowing the same creator. It is a gift above all gifts. And the main gift is the giver. Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I just kind of exploded right there, so I'm like simmering down. But yeah, that is just so special. I guess going off of that, to kind of segue into the other things I've been up to, I just got done reading the book of Acts, which has been so awesome learning. I would have never expected like the way it would have gone. Saul turning to Paul, and Paul just being this like such an important figure at the middle and end, from the middle to the end of the book of Acts, and him being in prison for years for absolutely nothing. Like, it's everything, but it's also nothing. Of like him being in prison. And if you haven't read the book of Acts, it's basically what I'm mentioning is Paul is sharing the truth about Jesus. The Pharisees don't like it. They want to imprison him and basically put him to death. And so they have to go through law. And the Romans respect the Jews. And it's kind of like the scene where they're like, well, we can't just deny them. So let's just put Paul in prison. We'll just keep him there till we can get him to, like, I think it was like Caesar or I forget the other names, but basically to somebody higher up in the Roman authority to make this decision of whether he should be accused or not. And you see these beautiful moments over and over again of the Romans not being able to do anything because there's nothing to persecute Paul about. And it's just so crazy that, like, Paul had such an impact through the Roman authorities that I think it even said that, and again, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure my recall's right, that he like made Romans question them. He made Romans question themselves about Jesus. Like, him being in court and basically giving his testimony of, like, guys, I was a Pharisee. I was literally the person persecuting and killing people for spreading the name of Jesus. God came to me while going to Damascus, and now I am a completely different person, and Jesus is my king, and this is just how it is now. And it's so undeniable that the Romans started questioning themselves. Some of them did, I'm pretty sure is what it said. And he's let off free. He's let off. He's finally a free man after years of being in prison. The Jews trying to persecute him. It is just crazy, man. Such a cool story. And every time that I get done reading in my Bible every morning, I'm just like, this feels like every great movie. Every great movie I've ever watched has this type of story behind it, except this one is true. This one's true. This one is a God story. This one is the most truth that you'll ever hear from a story, you know? And so it's so awesome to me. And so I just ended Acts, and now I'm in Romans, and still Paul. But I'm trying to figure out how to read it, because I got confused, because I know it's a letter or like a series of letters, or maybe it's one big letter, but I'm still really trying to learn that and learn how to read it, because Acts was very straightforward of being like almost like a story, like a nonfiction story. And so you're reading this as like a story, somebody narrating it of like, this is what's happening, da 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 da. But then Romans is, I just feel like, a little bit different. So I'm still growing in that and figuring out how to read it. And it was funny yesterday. I woke up a bit rough. I was just like off yesterday morning. And so I was trying to read Romans because yesterday was my actual first day of Romans, but I just couldn't read. And so I think it worked out though because today I had to reread what I couldn't focus on yesterday because I just quit yesterday. Literally, I just closed my Bible. I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm just so frustrated right now. And so this morning I had to reread what I read yesterday, but I think it helped me because rereading things just gives you more context. You understand it more sometimes, and that's definitely how I am. I was talking to my manager, um, and my friend the other day on FaceTime, and we were talking about like how we both just zone out during reading, like literally reading. I can read. I what's the most I've probably read a page and a half and zoned out the entire time, and then came back to and was like, bro, I'm gonna have to reread this entire page. And it's so frustrating to me because I'm not a fast reader. I'm such a slow reader, actually. I take so long to read to the point where, like, I have to block out time to read because I know I'm going to take forever. And so that's just how it is. And I know that. And so I block out time for reading. And it's just so annoying because if I zone out during a full, even just a paragraph, I have to reread it, and I know it's gonna take now. And in my head, I'm like, this is gonna take twice as long. I'm always like, I'll think about this sometimes if I'm not really locked in while reading. I'm like, dude, if I didn't zone out while reading, it would take me half the amount of time to read, on top of already being a slow reader. So while I'm reading, I'm like, this is gonna take twice as long, and I'm slow at reading. This is stupid. But I've gotten better, but it's still a thing. It's still there. But yeah, I guess that's just a side note. But yeah. So Romans will be cool to dive into. Again, Larry, I just got through chapter 1, which is only, I think, only really around 1 page or so. I have a study Bible, and I have a MacArthur study Bible, so it's like it's a bit different than a regular Bible of being like, I know this is 1 page, because most of the, especially in Romans, oh my gosh, there's so much study notes on it. And so like the book will be this big, let's say, and this much of it will be notes, and then like that much will be the actual text. And so, I mean, it's cool, but but what I was saying was that, like, I guess I think it's around a page. Basically, what I'm trying to say. The other thing for me, right now is I got a calendar because also over this Halloween weekend, I have figured out how just irresponsible I am with my time. And not as in I waste time, but as in I don't know. I'm really bad with planning. I'll just forget. Like, I will forget. What's an animal that forgets a lot? I don't know. But basically, I will just forget things and then not be able to think about them when making a plan. And I'll make a plan, I'll make a promise. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Because now I've like messed up plans and I feel bad. And so out of impulse, but I think it's a good impulse. Out of impulse, I bought a calendar literally like 10 minutes after this happened over Halloween weekend that I had messed up plans. And I was like, I'm done, bro. Like, because I get so stressed out sometimes about plans and times and stuff like that where I'm like, I'm getting a calendar. I'm done with this. I'm getting a calendar. This is what I need. And so I have it hung up on my wall, and it's working good for me. And it's been actually super awesome because now I can go and text people, make plans, write it down, be able to look at it and be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm very confident with making this plan. So it's been really great, but it definitely sucked to learn. And like most things in life for me, I have to mess up before actually learning, which is an interesting thing, which like I wish it wasn't like this. It's just the way I'm wired. Maybe it'll change one day. Hey, pray for God to transform me and for me not to have to mess up to learn. But I think it's just the way I'm wired of I have to mess up, I'm humbled, and then I make a decision to change. While I could just listen to people, make a conscious decision to change before something bad happens, and I have my solution. It just doesn't work like that for me. And I don't even know it's happening until like afterwards. So like I'll look back and be like, dude, I could have just bought a calendar a while ago, because I've had other times where like this minorly happens where I mess up plans minorly. But it was a really good reminder though of what God has given me that I can handle. Because one thing George Janko said that I think about sometimes is that he said he prays he I think he said that he prays that like God doesn't give him too much than what he can handle. And that, I mean, there's a lot of wisdom in that, but I've always been someone that's just like, go, 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 give me something till I break. And I think that's kind of the wiring that leads me to messing up and then making a fix about it. Um, but and it kind of it reminded me of that the other day, where it was like, oh, man, God is only going to give me blessings at the rate that I can handle. He's not going to give me something that I can't handle, because why would he do that? He's a good father. And so it's like getting a calendar, doing these certain things to take care of and to steward the things that he's giving me is how I get more blessings. Because if I can't handle something he's giving me, then why would he give me more? And so I've been given more opportunities recently that are like really great, that could be amazing blessings. But if I'm having poor planning, poor time management to not juggle everything correctly that I've already been giving, like Celeste comes first before anybody I can think of other than like my mom, and in some certain cases, or my grandmother or my siblings. Celeste comes first simply because she is my closest person and she devotes the most time to me out of anybody else she devotes time to. She comes first. So if I've messed up a plan, let's say like I messed up a timing for an opportunity the other weekend that conflicted with a promise I'd already made Celeste. I was like, oh my gosh. And so now I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, here we go. So it's like, how is God supposed to trust me to fulfill on these opportunities that he's giving me if I cannot plan them around the things that he's already entrusted in me to have? Get a calendar, make an organization out of it. And so that's kind of been like my thoughts and what I've been thinking about that recently. Because I feel like we all we all wonder why we're in certain positions sometimes, or why we're in certain areas of life. And I think it is sometimes like that. Like it's sometimes God is just like very he is always like, I feel like my experience, my relationship with God at least is very practical, of being like, all right, you want to provide one day, you want to provide, this is how I look at it. This is how I think about it right now. It's like, all right, you want one day to have a big family, and you want to be able to steward a lot of money, to take care of them, to change the world, do all these things. That also comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of just like a lot of responsibility and stuff. And so before I get there, I've got to hit the markers on stewarding opportunities, stewarding money, stewarding time, stewarding all these things correctly to build up to that. Because why is God going to just plop a large sum of money in my lap? I go lose it, and I'm like, God, why is my area of my life like this? You get, that's basically where I'm coming from, being like, all right, I got to build it up, because God's only going to give me as much as I can handle. So I've really got to put the work in on this earth to grow, to listen to him, to receive it, and to put my hard work out there to actually steward these things correctly. And so that's kind of what not being able to plan well, that's what it got me to. And maybe I looked too far into it, but again, I think that's just it's the way I'm wired, and God meets me where I am. And sometimes we all learn lessons in different ways. But yeah, so that's what it's just been such a great area of life that I've been in, of growing, and it really does feel like I'm reaping for the next, or my fault. It feels like I'm sowing for the next season. this season that I'm in right now doesn't feel like I am collecting corn. It feels like I'm dropping the seeds out. I'm pushing the machine that's gonna throw all the seeds out, making sure the soil levels are correct, doing the back end work. So then I have confidence that like next year, whatever it is, I can reap the corn, go do whatever it is with it. Um, yeah, so that's what it's been feeling like recently. Another big thing though that's been super exciting. One, it was Celeste's birthday, so Celeste or wish Celeste a happy birthday. Her birthday was on the 28th. It's now the 3rd, so it'll be like a week after her birthday when you guys see this. But hey, it's still nice to get birthday wishes. It's just a week later. It's just a little belated birthday wish. Nothing wrong with it. And then our 3 years was yesterday. We went to not Taco Bell. We went to Wingstop for a 3-year dinner, and it was amazing. We both love Wingstop. Our relationship is so funny, in certain ways because it's like we have our own things, you know. We have our own little cliques of knowing what we like and what we want to do, and it doesn't really matter what the outside things say or whatever it is. It's just like we know we like these things. We know we have these things. We don't need to go to a fancy restaurant to make more to like make our 3 years more significant. We're gonna go to Wingstop because it sounds good. Because we generally like Wingstop and this is like our spot. We're gonna go, we're gonna have a great dinner. And then we're gonna go to small group afterwards and we're gonna have a great night. It's like it's just I love it so much. There's nothing superficial about it. It's just we'll go out to a nice dinner if we want to, but I mean, what about Wingstop? you know? Um, yeah, so it was really awesome, and I put a post up on my Instagram story. If you don't follow me on Instagram, y'all should go do that. But I put a post up on my Instagram story that I really loved and cherished, and I'm really happy that Instagram does like archived stories or like flashback stories, and so I was able to go through and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to see it again later on, but I'll definitely want to look back on that because I loved that story post. It really felt like God was speaking through me a little bit on that of like helping me out on what to say and how to vocalize my words. And so, um, yeah, yeah, it's awesome. I'm so thankful for it. Um, so yeah, it's been a really exciting past few weeks. I also have I'm working on a album right now. I guess I'll say that right now because I don't think I've said that, but I'm working on what I think to be, and I guess I shouldn't say, but I'm working on what I think will be a Christian album. I'm making Christian music and worship music for sure, but what it'll culminate into with the songs I'm making right now, I don't know specifically yet, but that's what I think it's going to turn into. And so I have a couple of songs right now I'm working on, um, and everything. So that's how that's going. I've been posting daily TikToks too, and so that's been cool. I miss a couple of days, but it's basically daily TikToks. It's basically. But yeah, so I've been posting a lot more TikToks, just trying to get out there because I do realize that that's you really got to put yourself out there nowadays. And at this point, I'm wanting to spread the name Jesus. And that doesn't just have to be through music. It can be through this podcast. It could be I'm going on TikTok. I'm showing my funny personality or maybe somebody likes something that I said or whatever it might be. And now I can use that and they'll come on my channel or they'll come to my channel either on TikTok or YouTube, whatever it might be. And then they see that I talk about Jesus. And it's just like so many, I think the more gateways I can make to people watching me, the better it'll be without sacrificing art, obviously, because I mean, my music is going to be what it is that comes out of me that I make. I'm not going to make a song that I think is going to appeal that is going to appeal to 10 out of 10 of people. I'm making the music that people can understand. I'm making music for whoever is interested in what I make, if that makes sense. Like, real art, real things that move people. Like, dude, like, I know, like, bro, when I was listening to secular music, I was backing up Tyler and Kanye and Mac Miller and all these people that I loved loved their music, and I was like, these people are musical geniuses. And I walk into a room, I'll go to work, and they'll be like, Tyler's whack, Mac Miller's mid, and Kanye's a Nazi. One out of three of those has some validity behind it. But I say that to say, people are going to think what they think, and everybody gravitates towards different things. And so if in the same way that I felt about Mac Miller, somebody can feel about my music and be led to God through it, I'm so much more proud of that than if I were to make a song that I knew was just easy to listen to and everybody's going to like. It means more to me. And the value in it the most value in the music is always going to be God and his word and just pouring out my heart for God. That's number one, but also in a way that's like, Will is making this, Schmo Joe is not making this. And that's what art is. And I truly do think art can move people, can move things. So, yeah, I believe God is going to use that. What else? Oh, yeah, but I say all that to say that that's kind of where I'm at right now, is like using these different outlets in different ways and seeing what works and what God blesses and what he doesn't. And that's also been the journey of being like, cool, I could put out as many podcasts, as many TikToks as I wanted, as many songs as I wanted, but where's the growth that God can use this to glorify him with? What is God, what I need to be praying constantly, trying to grow as much as I can and do the best I can at my craft and whatever I'm doing so that God can use it and for him to be able to platform it to, do something for the kingdom. And that's why I had this thought the other week of being like, or I feel like the Holy Spirit was saying, it was like, take care of the 50 viewers that you have right now, because you're not going to get 100 if you don't take care of the 50, so yeah, so that's just kind of been my mentality recently. But yeah, is there anything, I'm trying to think, I feel like there was something else I was going to say, but I forget it now. I don't know. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up. I know I've been basically rambling for the past 50 minutes or so, but I do think there are some gems in there. I hope I've been entertaining to some extent. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Guys, and I'm serious about this. If you're somebody that enjoys this podcast or tunes in just because you know me from back at home, or if you're somebody that has just stumbled upon, whoever you are, I truly care about the community that God may bless me with, or that the community that we can grow. I am so massive on the fact that this is the Archetype Podcast, where I'm not speaking to you. I hope that we speak exchangedly. That's what real discipleship is an exchange. And so an exchange that goes both ways is what I was trying to say, is what real discipleship is. And so being in the comments, sending me DMs, having conversations, on whether that's in the comments, whatever it might be, that's what this channel should be. Is that we all are growing together. We all are going through different seasons of life, but we can recognize that all of us are growing. If we're not growing, then we need to pull each other up. If you feel like you're stagnant right now, come on, let's pull up and let's keep moving. God has a plan for you, and we need to see that. We need to see that through. God's got the plan, but he's asking us to go out into the harvest and work. We need to keep our heads up and not in the sand. So let's keep moving. Let's rebuke laziness. Let's get out there. Let's move. Let's spread the name of Jesus, and let's be the best that we can, so people look at us. People look at Christians. And if you're not a Christian, I seriously recommend going to church, praying, talking to somebody that is a Christian, praying to God, ask him to reveal himself to you. Ask Jesus to reveal himself to you. Pick up a Bible and read, whatever that may look for you. Like, just try to get involved, man, because all it takes is showing up, and he's going to be right there with you. Wherever you are, he meets you where you are. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming here and taking time out of your day to listen to me. And I can't wait for the next episode. God bless you guys.